So China was a big head fake from the reopening. The reopening didn't go as smoothly or as strongly as a lot expected, and now they're cutting rates and doing stimulus measures to stimulate the economy, and they have labor strikes because because of low wages and economic stagnation. So as China is trying um, to to boost the economy, this could provide again a floor to the commodities, and that would benefit us here in Canada, because one of the reasons Canada underperformed this year is because of big exposure in the TSX to the commodity base, and then the other sector
Hmm.
is the banks.
Right, absolutely. And so when you let's just take a look at the Canadian market right now. How are you positioned? How are you and your team positioned there?
So I would say this, that our top 10 holdings, we have maybe three, 30% is in Canada and the rest is in the US. There just seems to be more opportunity in the US and in the stocks that we have been. So I'm very happy to say that we own NVIDIA and NVIDIA has become
Mm,
actually our number one holding because of the rally it had. I mean, we picked it up around $180 and then, you see where it is today. So it has become, because of the rally, our number one. So some of the names that we had, like NVIDIA and Oracle and Microsoft, they've made it into the top 10 because of the strength that they had. And then, in terms of Canadian exposure, we do have some banks. I know banks have been challenging, but they do yield a 4.5% yield. Royal Bank is at 4.4, I think. Um, and we saw in the latest earnings season for the banks that they have put aside loan losses, quite a high number. That was the outlier in the earnings report. So they're very conservative. In the financial crisis, our conservatism of our banks actually saved us, and so
hmm
it's actually nice to see that they're conservative in that sense. And I think that they probably have a little bit of a bottom here, as
hmm
they're doing things the right way. And if the economy and the Canadian consumer, does not get hurt as much as maybe the conservative side of their balance sheet, how they put those loan loss reserves aside just in case, if that doesn't pan out, then that comes back in, and that's good.
Yeah. And for viewers who haven't been following the NVIDIA story, obviously that's the poster child for AI. So that's really been what's working in the market. But and so a lot of people have piled into that name. I'm curious though, Diana, when you see a name like NVIDIA that has done so well, how do you manage that position in the sense that, in full disclosure, I own it as well, and I find it so difficult to sell a winner and one that's probably going to continue to win, but at the same time it's probably somewhat inflated. The valuation is high. It'll be the first one to sell if, in fact, the market sells off. So, how do you manage that?
Okay, so great question. So investment strategy. Blue sky is that you want to let your winners run and cut your losses small. That would be
Okay.
it's harder to do than to say, because you want to take some profits, and Nvidia is expensive. Um, you let your winners run and you don't try to
Yeah.
pick the top, and you wake up every morning and you say, is this a story that can still work from a, forget about the valuation right now. It's very
hmm
expensive. It was expensive yesterday. It was expensive a week ago. It was expensive a month ago. It'll be expensive tomorrow. But this is what's working. This is the story in the market. This is the story in our technological world, and it may impact things in a big way, just like the introduction of internet in the late 90s. All these stocks that were trading at valuations that didn't make any sense, but then they're the ones that shape the next 25 years. Maybe this is what shapes the next 25 years. So don't try and pick bottoms,
hmm
bottoms or tops, actually, because you can't, because every new highs make new highs, and every day it makes a new high. So by definition, you're gonna miss the big ones. When it changes, if it
hmm
changes, and Nvidia is interesting because it's the arms dealer. You don't
Yeah.
know who's going to win in this AI. You know who's
Right.
gonna stay.